Creating a layered art journal page is so much more than just the page itself. We talk about this a lot here on the channel, that the creative exercise that can be crafting a art journal is not limited to just that particular page. It can then be found to be a starting place for a scrapbook page or a card front. Always tags, right? We can translate those ideas onto other surfaces. But today, let's talk about the art journal page. Hi, I'm Jamie Pate, and welcome to the channel. Today, we are going to be doing just that. We're going to be creating, I was kind of challenging myself, like, how do I want to go about this? And I wanted to go with 9 layers on a art journal page. So I'm going to clear my space here of the supplies that I'm using, and I'll talk about each of them a little bit as we go. But don't worry if you don't have all these supplies, because you're going to hear me talk about what we could use instead. Hopefully I remember to share that part with you. It doesn't have to be specific. That's the beauty about, one of the beauties about art journaling, is that we can bring in other mediums to do the job that we want done. So today I'm going to start with ink. It's just kind of a classic reach for. I have a craft mat down here in case you're wondering if I'm doing this directly on my cutting mat, and I am not. I'm in the blues right now. I'm loving blues. I don't know, there's something about summer that's beginning to start. Blue just kind of, ooh, that is going to be bright. Ooh, that was a juicy one. But blues just really have it for me. And so we're going to start here with this page and bringing the blues in with this. I'm just going to kind of mix this a little bit. I have here a journal. I'll share this journal with you in a little bit and what's going on in here so far. I'm going to do my classic. I have smushed ink. I have spritzed ink. I've kind of shirted shirted, I can't even talk. I've stirred it up a little bit. Let's just use that. I've added some water to my surface in which I am going to be transferring this ink to, and it's just going to be a simple dip of color. I'm probably not going to do too much more than that. I have a whole bunch up here, don't I? I think I want to kind of thin that out a little bit, and for the most part, I'm going to let this dry. And this is basically our first layer. It's, for this page, it's going to be ink. It could be paint. It could be inking stencil through a stencil. It could be paper. It could be circles of paint. It could be stamping of different patterns. Sky's the limit. Okay, the next thing I'm going to add is some collage paper. I don't do this very often, but I have some here. I just tore off a very small bit of it, and I'm going to apply it to my dry inked up surface here of this art journal that I have in place. And I'm using matte medium. You can use collage medium. You can use, I also very often will use glue stick. It's a dry day here today, so my glue is going fast. I'm just going to add a bit more here and get that laid down. But this is a fun way to add some interest to your background without adding too much bulk, for sure. The next layer I'm going to add in is some stamp texture. I'm going to use this very large leaf motif. This is from Wispy Stems by Arden Creative. It's a new set here. And I'm also going to just use black soot because I want some black in the background, but black soot isn't this very, very dark black. I like it because it's going to add some foundation to the background without completely taking over with black. And I'm going to add this here about like this. I'm going to go ahead and move my clip. I will share with you some other pages that I have going on in this book here as we get finished with this page. And you're going to see another page that I basically used these similar layers that I'm doing here, the 9 different layers I used here, I did something similar to this already. I'm going to come up here, just add a bit at the top. And that's our stamping layer. Now, one might not think washi tape is a good layer for an art journal, and I disagree, because I think the nature of a washi is just that. It can really show up anywhere. And the idea behind my placement for my washi tape on this page is that I know I'm going to come in here with a focal point. And so that focal point is going to kind of connect with these 2 places here. And so any of these washes would have worked beautifully. I'm going to stick with this for now. Sometimes less is more. All right, the next thing I'm going to add in is my favorite. Texture paste is my favorite. And I kind of went back and forth as to what I was going to add to this page. I decided to keep it. I could have even gone with some dots, but boy, this diamond type of background just keeps pulling me in. So I'm going to come up here and kind of do my classic and come up here at the top left corner of my page, and I don't really want a lot. Obviously, this particular page is pretty small, right? And I'm going to come down here and add some detail on the bottom right-hand corner. Just going to look at that. It's overlapping my washi tape, which I got no compulsion about, and so that's it for the texture, especially for as big a space as this is. As far as I'm concerned, that's all I need. All right, layers 6 and 7 we're going to combine because 7 is fabric or twine, ribbon. I've seen creatives use cheesecloth. I'm trying to think what else. I'm going to use twine because I really like this twine. So I'm just going to create a circle of twine that I'm going to then layer with the layer that is what's called ephemera or die cuts. So I have some laser cuts here from Page Starters. I have a label here from Page Starters. These are going to be my die cuts. I'm going to layer, I'm going to turn this like this. I'm going to layer the label, and then I have some different laser cuts here that are pretty delicate. They're staying with the blue. And then I'm going to layer these up, and I'm simply going to keep them connected with tiny attacher once I'm happy with how this is all coming together. And it's not about perfection, it's about discovery. It's about coming together with some of these different items and deciding, you know, I really like how that looks, and I do like how that looks. One of the things I'm going to use to add this to my page is the 1mm foam adhesive. And unlike what I typically do when I'm adding elements to a page, to a surface, I tend to use very minimal adhesive because I like to be able to still stick stuff back in there if I think I need that. Well, I'm breaking my own rules because that's what rules are for, right? We need to be breaking our own rules and exploring and experimenting. I want this label to look like it's very secure on my page and have a foundation to it that kind of pops it up with you know, so it's, you know, this page is right now it's kind of warpy. It will relax, but I don't want my label to look warpy. So by adding enough adhesive to the back, I think I've secured it nicely. And I'm just going to make a decision what I'm going to do with this little piece of extra twine here. And I think I'm just going to bring it down, see if it wants to stay. I can always trim it. But that's my layer for this page, because remember, this could be die cuts, this could be butterflies, this could be birds, this could be more leaves and flowers, it could be bigger flowers. It could be all kinds of things. This is what we're using for this one. And so let's go on. And so now let's go on to the next layer. I found this joy in the Page Starters, and I like how it looks. It's a little different than what I would add to a page, and that's okay. I'm good with different. I'm good with all my pages looking just a little different. But joy is just a great theme right now. And so I'm going to kind of layer it in such a way that it's kind of going over my label a little bit here. It's kind of going over the fabric, or the fabric, what we call twine. And it's kind of go over some of the stems over here. And so that is our sentiment layer. One of the things I'm going to show you in a moment is how I've been adding tabs to this particular journal. And I'm going to add a tab to this page as well. And what I love about the page starters, actually this is actually called Hidden Creek. I must have pulled that Hidden Creek. It's just this list of all of these words here on the side. And I'm going to grab the Always, super small font. I mean, tiny, like maybe 6. I mean, super small. And it fits perfectly on that tab. So it's just a fun way to kind of index the page. I'm not overthinking it by any means as to what the word is saying. I wanted just to have a word. Joy always is, for me, a fantastic theme. So I'm going to carefully get this into place. Oh, it's perfect. Just like that. Don't move it. Don't breathe. Just transfer away. Here we go. Here we go. And then what you want to do, if you're new to rub-ons, is you want to pull up the plastic and just make sure. See, that wasn't quite transferring yet. So before I completely just take it away, you don't want to tear it off like a Band-Aid, that's for sure. But just kind of move it gently and making sure everything is transferred down. And then this is going to easily be added to my page right about here. And I am going to use a tiny attacher to staple this on. And again, I'm not worried about my pages not being flat yet. They eventually will. And that's my final layer that I'm going to add to my page. Okay, and that's 9 layers of art journaling goodness. So let's take a look here at the rest of our book. I'm using the Arden Creative Studio book, journal book. It's a cute little book. It is about 4 inches wide and about 6 inches tall. So perfect for just a little mini morning make before you do everything else. And each page is different, ever so slightly, just different combinations. I didn't add a tab to this page. This page is quite inky, but notice it's flattened out through the time of just sitting on my space. This one did get journaling already, and I just used a piece of paper to tab it. And then this one, same way, just has a piece of paper that I just wrapped around, and it's tabbed. And a lot of the same techniques are found on this page as we just did on the previous page. This is a page that inspired the page we just did today. Different but the same, right? You can see a lot of similarities between these two pages, but yet they're still so different. And just, slight changing up of a few different elements here and there. This one is, it's the little things and more joy, which I think is so great to come into joy and then always joy. So if you want, put something on top of this to help it to relax. Thank you so much for watching today. I do hope you will like this video, share it with your friends, maybe invite some friends over and have a 9-layer art journaling night using these steps that I've shared with you here. You can find everything in the description. Let me know if you have any questions. Please shout out and say, hey, I'd love to hear from you. And see you next time when we add maybe perhaps more to our journal.